Today, here at Giallozafferano, we will prepare the dish that represents us the best, a risotto allo zafferano.
Bon appétit!
In this dish are the pistils of the prodigious saffron flower, which are the protagonists of this dish, and they are what give it so much flavor and its lovely color. You should leave them to infuse for a whole night, or at least steep them in water for a few hours. Here's the result. Alternatively, saffron powder can also be used. The procedure is the same, but the infusion time is shorter. We will set this aside because we'll use it in a bit. Instead, let's start with the base for our risotto. Finely chopped onion and add just a little drizzle of olive oil. Then, add the onion directly into the cold oil, and we will slowly sweat the onions at a nice and low temperature for 10 to 15 minutes. This step is very important because the onion needs to become super soft and translucent. To cook the onions this way for a long time, it is important that the environment in the pan is kept nice and humid. To make things easier, we can add a pinch of salt, which will help the onion release its liquids. Or, we can help things along by ladling in a bit of broth as needed. Just like with any sauté, to keep the onion well immersed in oil, you can tilt the pan like so and ensure it is cooking correctly. Now, it is the perfect consistency. We can move on to the base element of every risotto, the carnaroli rice. It is one of the most classic types and certainly the most suitable for making a Lombard risotto. Pour the carnaroli rice into the pan with the sauté, give it a thorough mixing, and allow it to toast. Since we aren't dry roasting the rice, avoid using high temperatures, which could lead to burning your onion. Keep the stove at a low temperature, keep stirring everything well, and wait for the rice to make its typical crunchy sound. Now, especially at this stage, you should use a silicone spatula, which will help you collect all the grains of rice and ensure that they are toasting uniformly. Then, we can deglaze the pan with some dry white wine. Keep cooking until all of the alcohol evaporates, so only that touch of acidity from the wine will remain, which will make the dish more complex and interesting. Now, we can start to cook the risotto. Ladle in just a little broth at a time, and continue adding broth as needed as it is absorbed, until the rice is soft and almost fully cooked. During the final minutes of cooking, we can add in our saffron infusion. Don't worry about scraping out any saffron pistils that are left in the bottom of the dish, as we will use them to decorate the top of our plates. These final minutes of cooking are always the most delicate. We must ensure we are adding the right amount of broth to achieve a moist risotto that is not too brothy. This is also the perfect time to adjust the salt, although often there is no need to add salt because the broth is quite savory. Give it a taste to check. It needs a bit. Once you have achieved the perfect consistency, turn off the heat. It is time to fluff up the rice vigorously with the stove turned off. Adding just a touch more broth is essential because as we stir, it will emulsify with the fats and create a perfect amount of creaminess. Now we will finish it in the most classic way by adding some butter and grana padano. Both should be cold from the fridge. Add them in and after a few moments, mix to emulsify everything, then shake the pan and make some waves. And now it's time to plate. If you smack the plate on the bottom and then the rice spreads out like that, it means that it is perfect. Top the plates with the pistils that were left in the dish, and our risotto allo zafferano is finally ready to be eaten. It is simply exquisite.